10 signs your cat is nearing the end of their life. What if your cat had already started saying goodbye and you just didn't see it? Not because you were careless, not because you didn't love them, but because the signs didn't look like warning signs at all. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Cats don't cry, they don't wail, they don't plead. When a cat begins to let go, they do it in the quietest, most beautiful way possible by protecting you from it. They disguise their pain as routine, they turn their final moments into ordinary ones. And that's why 99% of owners miss the chance to be there when it matters most. So if you're here watching this, pause for a second, look down at your cat, or maybe remember the one you still carry in your heart. And now ask yourself, would I recognize the moment they were trying to say goodbye? If you're even slightly unsure, then this video is for you. And listen, I'm not going to ask you to subscribe just for this channel. This isn't about clicks or numbers, this is about love. And if you've ever loved a cat, even once, you already know how deep that bond runs. So go ahead, tap the like, hit subscribe. Not for us, for every cat that silently hopes their human will notice before it's too late. Let's begin. 1. The eyes that start saying everything. There is something about a cat's gaze that feels almost supernatural. One moment it's calm and casual, the next it stops you in your tracks. And near the end, that gaze changes in ways most people can't explain, but never forget. Some cats start to stare through you instead of at you. Their eyes linger longer, softer, as if they're memorizing your face. Others do the opposite. They avoid your gaze completely, like they're holding in something too heavy to share. Neither reaction is random. Cats are emotional creatures. They just don't wear their feelings like dogs do. They hold them in their eyes right until the very end. And when that shift happens, it's not just about vision, it's about connection. A cat that's getting ready to leave this world may look at you like they're seeing something you can't. You'll feel it before you understand it. A quiet pause, a moment you dismiss at the time but will never forget afterward. 2. The disappearing act, no one notices in time. Suddenly your cat starts hiding. Not just in their usual cozy corners, but in strange, out-of-reach places. Under the dryer, behind the fridge, wedged into the closet you haven't opened in years. At first it feels innocent. She's just exploring. He likes quiet places. And that's exactly why this sign is so dangerous. It sounds logical until it isn't. In the wild, cats hide when they're sick or dying. It's instinct. Isolation was survival. Even if your home is full of love, that primal code doesn't go away. And so they vanish quietly, deliberately. They're not just choosing a place, they're choosing distance. And that distance grows emotionally and physically. You stop seeing them at their usual spots. They don't come to you for meals, or when the door opens, or when you settle into bed. You find yourself searching for them, calling their name a little louder, leaving food out just in case. That's not routine anymore, that's retreat. And the hardest part? They're not doing it because they don't love you. They're doing it because they do. They think they're protecting you from their decline. 3. When the purr isn't what you think it is, it's one of the most comforting sounds in the world. That steady, soothing purr. We hear it and think, she's happy. He's relaxed. But not always. Cats also purr when they're in pain, when they're scared, even when they're dying. Purring is a self-soothing mechanism. It calms their nerves, regulates their breathing, and sometimes signals submission or quiet distress. The most heartbreaking part? It sounds almost normal, just a little softer, just a bit more fragile, just constant. You may notice it when they're alone or hiding or laying still in odd positions and you think, at least they're purring. That's a good sign. But what if the purr wasn't a sign of peace, but a mask for pain? It's especially deceptive because it comforts you. It makes you believe they're okay, that things aren't that bad. But next time you hear that familiar vibration, ask yourself, are they purring with connection or instead of it? Because when the purr replaces interaction, it's not reassurance, it's a quiet distress call. And here's the hardest truth so far. What if the next sign doesn't look like a warning at all? What if, for the first time ever, your independent cat starts following you everywhere, curling up on your chest, sleeping closer than they ever have before? And what if that sudden affection isn't about closeness, but about closure? There is a moment that catches every cat owner off guard. You come home, drop your keys, sit on the couch, and suddenly your cat is there, closer than usual, following your every step, sleeping on your pillow, watching you in silence. At first, it feels sweet, unexpected maybe, but beautiful, especially if they were never like that before. But here's what most people don't realize. When an independent cat becomes clingy out of nowhere, it's not just affection, it's need. It's confusion. It's the beginning of goodbye. They're not becoming more loving, they're searching for something. They might be sensing changes in their own body, things they can't explain but can feel. And in those uncertain moments, you become their anchor, their comfort, their safety net. They don't know what's happening, but they know they want to be near you. And sometimes, just sitting beside you in silence is all they have the energy for. What looks like cuddling might actually be them saying, "Don't leave me right now. I need to be near the one thing that still makes sense." But as heartbreaking as that is, not all cats react this way, because some do the opposite. Some disappear. 4. The unexpected distance you're not meant to take personally. If your cat suddenly withdraws, stops sleeping in your bed, stops sitting near you, hides for hours or even days, don't take it as rejection. It's not that they don't love you anymore. It's that they're confused and sometimes even afraid, and they think they're protecting you by keeping their distance. Their world is shifting, their energy is fading. And somewhere deep in their instincts, they believe that pulling away is a form of mercy. They're trying to manage their own decline without putting that burden on you. And that's one of the hardest truths to accept. That the animal who spent their life loving you quietly may try to leave you the same way. Silently. Alone. Hidden. Not to hurt you, but to save you from pain. 5. Sudden agitation that doesn't match their personality. Your sweet, gentle companion suddenly growls, swats, runs off when you reach out, bites for the first time in years. You think, what's gotten into them? But the answer isn't emotional, it's physical. Discomfort does strange things to even the calmest cat. And near the end, their body begins to feel unfamiliar. Their joints ache. Their breathing may change. Their brain might be processing signals that don't make sense. They're disoriented, scared, vulnerable, and they can't tell you that. So they react. You might notice them pacing at night, yowling randomly, sleeping in strange, tense positions, getting startled by small movements. They're not turning mean. They're not getting old and grumpy. They're uncomfortable and they don't know how to ask for help. This is where many owners turn away, thinking the behavior is just moodiness or stress. But aggression is often one of the last cries for help before a deeper shutdown begins. 6. The silence of self-neglect. A healthy cat grooms constantly. It's one of the ways they stay clean, regulate their body temperature, and even manage emotional stress. So when a cat stops grooming, you need to pay attention. You might first notice their coat looking a little dull, then tangled, then flat and greasy. Mats begin to form in places they used to keep perfectly clean: the belly, the back legs, the lower back. This isn't laziness. It's surrender. They're tired. Their muscles may hurt. They might feel nauseous or dizzy. They don't have the strength or the motivation to care for themselves anymore. And by the time the fur looks truly different, it's usually far along. You'll catch yourself thinking, "I should have noticed sooner." But how could you have known? That's what makes this so difficult. The changes are subtle, gradual, and easy to excuse. Almost always final. They've slept in the same spot for years. That soft blanket on the couch, the sunny spot near the window, the edge of your bed where they curl up every night like clockwork. And then one day, they don't. You find them lying on the cold bathroom tile, curled behind the washer, tucked into the farthest corner of the room, the one they always ignored before. At first it looks random. She just found a new favorite place. He's always been weird about where he sleeps. But here's what most people don't know. When a cat nears the end of life, they often seek places that feel distant, cold, separate, final. It's not about comfort anymore, it's about instinct. Cats in the wild leave the group to die alone, not because they don't care, but because they're wired that way, to vanish, to remove themselves from the pack, to preserve the dignity of silence. Your living room may be full of love and warmth, but that ancient instinct still whispers in their body, and when the time comes, they start listening to it. You might see them leave their cozy pillow for a hard wooden floor. You might notice they haven't slept next to you in days, even though you didn't push them away. They're pulling back not because they want to disappear from you, but because their body believes it has to. 7. The food games that break your heart. You wake up and pour their favorite food. They sniff it, then walk away. You try another brand, then another. You warm it up, add treats, hand feed them. Finally, they eat 2 bites. You feel relief. At least they're eating something. But then the next day, nothing again. Here's the truth. When cats are nearing the end, eating becomes less about hunger and more about habit. And that habit starts to fade. They'll lick but not chew. Take 1 bite and lose interest. Sniff and walk away like it was never food to begin with. This is especially heartbreaking because it gives you false hope. One good meal makes you believe they're turning around until the next one is ignored completely. It's a roller coaster of emotion. But what most people don't realize is this. When the body starts to shut down, appetite is one of the first things to go and one of the last to come back. So that moment when they suddenly stop eating, that might not be a bad day. It might be a turning point. A signal the body is too tired to keep up even the most basic need. And sometimes they force themselves to eat just to stop you from worrying. They do it for you because they see the look in your eyes. They feel the tension when you watch every bite. And for that one small second, they pretend everything's okay. 8. The quiet act that means everything in hindsight. It happens in the calmest of moments. Your cat, who hasn't cuddled in months, climbs into your lap and curls up without a sound. They stretch a paw across your hand, look into your eyes, press their head against your chest, and they stay there, still, warm, present. It feels like a gift, like the old days, like healing. But sometimes that moment is something else. A memory being made, a goodbye without words. Cats don't do dramatic farewells. They don't cry or make speeches or ask you not to forget them. They give you something small, subtle, something you don't understand until later. When the house is quiet and your arms are empty, and you remember that one last cuddle that felt different. At the time, you smile. You say, she hasn't done this in so long. But later, that moment feels heavier, softer, sacred. And suddenly you realize that was it. That was goodbye. And yet, there's one final sign, and it doesn't look like anything at all. It doesn't come from their eyes or their paws or even their voice. It comes from you. You might not even realize when it happens, because it doesn't look like a farewell. It looks like your cat doing something unexpectedly sweet, laying their head on your chest after months of keeping distance, placing a paw gently on your hand, locking eyes with you in total stillness. No meows, no purr, just presence. At first it feels healing, like something old returning, like the bond you thought was fading suddenly lighting up again. You breathe deeper. You smile. You say out loud, I miss this. And in that exact moment, it feels like a gift. But later it becomes something else, a memory you hold tighter than you expected. A quiet scene that plays over and over in your mind. And each time you remember it, it hits differently. Because that moment wasn't random. It wasn't just affection. It was closure. 9. A farewell moment disguised as affection. Cats don't beg for attention when they're about to go. They don't cling or dramatize. They offer you something subtle, something that at the time feels so small you barely notice it. But afterward it becomes everything. A last cuddle, a long stare, a pause in the hallway where they just stood there looking at you, not asking for anything, just watching like they were trying to memorize your face. These moments don't come with fanfare. They come with stillness. Because for a cat, love isn't loud. Even at the end, it's quiet. It's sacred. It's often missed until it becomes the one thing you wish you could return to. Some people say they didn't notice it at first, only to be haunted by it later. Others say they felt something in that moment but didn't want to believe it, because deep down they knew. 10. The gut feeling you keep ignoring, it starts as a whisper, not from them, but from inside you. Something about the way they didn't come when called, or the way they sat in that dark corner longer than usual, or the sound of their purring, too soft, too constant, too out of place. You noticed it. You just didn't want to, because noticing it means accepting something your heart isn't ready for. So you make excuses. She's just tired. He's getting older. She always does that. But deep down something stirs. An ache, a knowing, a quiet alert from the bond you've built over the years, telling you something is different now. Cats don't say goodbye with words. They speak in behavior, in energy, in choices. And if you've truly loved them, if you've been there for the long nights, the sudden sprints, the playful taps, the silent companionship, then you already know. You just might not want to. That gut feeling, that sense that something is off, that's not paranoia. That's love calling for your attention one last time. And when you listen, really listen, you realize that moment isn't about fear. It's about preparation. It's about being present when they need you most. Not with panic, not with regret, but with quiet courage. If this message touched your heart, do one simple thing. Leave your cat's name in the comments. Whether they're still with you or already watching from beyond, let their name be remembered. And if you believe more people need to hear this, hit like. If you want to be here for more videos that honor the quiet love our cats give us, subscribe. Not for this channel, not for numbers, but for them. For the cats who whisper instead of cry, who protect us even while fading, who leave without noise but never without love. You may not get to change the past, but now you'll recognize the signs. You'll know when to pause. And more importantly, you'll be there fully when it matters most. Because no one knows your cat better than you. Hey, the cat said if you don't like and subscribe, they'll knock something off your table. Don't risk it. Hit that button.